On today's Join Us in France, a trip report with Letitia Guy, who took her very first trip to France, visiting Normandy and the Mont Saint-Michel and Paris. Before I get on with the show this morning, I want to say thank you for all the kind messages I've received over the 100th show. David Ensel said, "Congratulations on a superb 100th episode. I just posted an updated review of your marvelous podcast on my new blog." Thank you so much for doing that, David. Any mentions we get on other blogs or on TripAdvisor, on iTunes, anything like that is wonderfully helpful. Thank you. Katie Orr said, love the podcast. I feel like I'm having a chat with friends. That's good. I have been listening lately while I jog. Congratulations on the jogging bit. And I have to find another time to listen since the last time I tuned in, it was the first pastry episode and I came home and I had to make a clafoutis. It's not helping my waistline, she says, but so good. Our next trip is coming up soon over spring break, and I wonder if any of the episodes talk about Easter celebrations or customs. No, actually, they don't, and that's probably because we don't have that much other than eating chocolate, but I'll think about it and possibly do an episode about that. Matt said, "Congratulations on 2 years and 100 shows. This is quite an accomplishment. Such genuine, unbiased, and informative content is a rarity, and it has enriched my life. Thank you for your hard work and vision." Thank you so much. You know, I really think that a lot of information that's out there about travel to France is overhyped. I mean, you think when you read some of these very famous bloggers, mind you, people who really know how to write very, very well, they write stuff that makes you think that France is all, you know, unicorns and rainbows and wonderful epic meetings and just, well, okay, sometimes it's that way, but sometimes it's much more simple than that, and that's okay too. And I'm hoping that you get that message loud and clear in our podcasts. And one last mention from Annie Organ, who also wrote on the Facebook page. She says, "I'm listening to and enjoying all your podcast episodes while preparing for a month in France this June," which is my favorite month. You're correct, Annie. And now, having joined the Facebook feed, I realize I'm going to want to go back to the beginning and review the great information you have on Facebook too. Merci, Annie and Elise. It's true that on Facebook, I put information that don't make it into the episodes necessarily. So it's good to see both. Thank you for your reviews, everyone. It's very gratifying to see that you listen to and enjoy the show as much as you do. If the show is helpful to you and you'd like to show us your support, make your Amazon purchases through Join Us in France. To do that, go to joinusinfrance.com and click on the picture on the left-hand side of the website. Right now, it's a picture of the Paris Metro. Merci beaucoup.
Hello, Annie. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you so much for saying yes to being on the show. That's wonderful.
Oh, no trouble. I love the show and I love talking about France. So.
Oh, good. Well, you have a very French name.
Oh, well, you know, my mother knew someone in high school that had that name and she loved it. So when I was born, that's what I got.
That's great. Well, typically in France, they spell it Laeti.
Oh, okay.
But that's the only difference. And I know
that's
several.
Cool.
I know several Letitia, and I think they're lovely people. So,
well, thank you.
Great name.
Thanks.
Anyway, all right. So today we're going to talk about your trip, which you took in was it June 2015?
14, June of 2014.
Okay, okay. Mm-hmm. And so tell us more. What did you do?
Well, my niece was invited to march in a parade to commemorate the 70th anniversary of the D-Day invasion.
Wonderful.
And so we took a trip over. We spent, I think, 4 days up on the coast at Sainte-Mère-Église, and then we came down to Paris and spent 3 days in Paris.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
So you told me that you were based mostly out of Granville.
Yes, we were right up there. It was fantastic. It was beautiful.
So why did you pick Granville rather than some other place?
Well, we didn't pick it. It was part of a big group. There were about 50 of us that went, and I want to say it had more to do with finding room for everybody because there were so many people on the coast, because it was the 70th anniversary of D-Day.
Absolutely.
And I had never seen that many people in my life, so that may have had something to do with it.
Yes, it was a very, very well attended celebration. There were so many. I have several friends who went, and I considered going, and then gave up on it because, like you said, finding a hotel was an issue.
It was, I met every nationality. I mean, it was fantastic.
Yeah, that's great. So was this like a fully organized group? Everything was set up for you?
Yes. Yeah. We went
okay.
that way. And really, I think it was probably good because most of us had never been out of this country. Mm-hmm. And so it sort of took a lot of the anxiety out of, okay, what are we going to do? Where are we going to stay?
Oh, sure. It's a wonderful way to see a place, especially the first time. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good way to go if you're comfortable doing that. Okay, so Granville, for everybody listening, is just a little north of Mont-Saint-Michel. Mm-hmm. And it's probably 50 kilometers away from the D-Day beaches of Utah Beach and Omaha Beach, more or less. So you probably spent some time in the bus, I would assume, going around to the various places. Yeah,
a lot of time on a bus.
Well, yeah, it can't be helped. I mean, that's just how it goes. So today I want to begin with Mont-Saint-Michel because that is not a place we've talked about before on the show, and I think there would be some interest in that. Mm-hmm. So what did you think? What was your impression?
I have wanted to see it ever since I first saw that there was such a place, and you can't drive directly to it. They drop you off at this little point, and then you have to walk a little short ways to actually get onto the Mont.
Yes.
And when you see it, I mean, it's like your brain can't even process that it's a real place. It just looks like something they pulled straight out of a fairy tale. It is so beautiful, and it's a lot of people feel that way, and so it's very crowded. But
That's right.
It was beautiful. I have never seen anything like it. We did not get to go all the way up to the Abbey. But I will rectify that in October. So.
Yeah, that's strange. It doesn't take that long to get up there.
Well, we were, with the big crowd of people that we had, we only had a small amount of time to actually see anything. And so it just didn't fit in the time. But we did get to walk around on that main street, where all the shops and all the all the touristy stuff is. And
sure.
We ate at a restaurant, and I had, the mussels with the fries and a cream sauce.
Oh, what did you think of that?
It was fantastic.
I love those.
It's really good.
Oh, that must be so fattening. So for people listening,
it probably was.
You want to describe it because not everybody knows what we're talking about.
Well, what it is it looks like the mussels that are cooked in a cream sauce, and I couldn't tell you exactly what's in the cream sauce, but they come out in this big giant bowl. I mean, it's a huge bowl, and it is full to the gills with mussels and cream, and they serve you with bread, and there was a side of French fries, and it was, I don't even know, you have to taste it. It was just rich, and you could taste the mussels, but it wasn't just, they weren't overpowering.
Right.
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah. So I'm going to repeat some of that because we're cutting out, and I'm not sure if the recording worked right. So what it is they bring this kind of a round pot that's full of mussels, and mussels are these seafood things, and they're cooked, and there's a sauce. It's a cream sauce and some seasonings. I'm not sure exactly what they do, but it's It's a very creamy, very rich sauce, and it's absolutely delicious. It's not fishy because of the cream. You don't really taste the mussels that much, I think.
Right.
And it's very, very good. And yes, it's always served with a side of fries because, you always need fries, right?
Right. They were good too.
Oh, yeah. And I have tried to reproduce that recipe at home and haven't found the best. I just can't get it just right, I've had it there at Mont Saint-Michel a few times, and I really loved it. And the other thing that's really popular at Mont Saint-Michel is the omelets. You probably didn't have time to do.
No.
Yeah.
We didn't do that.
Yeah, but omelets are a big thing. Les omelettes de la mer Poulard is what it's called, but they are served quite wet. The egg is not quite fully cooked. And even for me, who's French, I thought it was a little bit much. And the word for that is baveux, omelette baveuse. And it just means that it's, bave is another word, it means spit.
Oh.
So, yes. It's the other meaning of the word. So it's a little bit disturbing, right? Yeah. And I remember I had it, but I asked them to cook it a little bit more.
I was going to say, I would have to have it. I don't want a runny omelet.
Exactly. And it was quite runny. So you could have it, but do tell the waiter, omelette bien cuite. Bien cuite, meaning well done. Pas baveux, pas baveuse. Je veux pas baveuse. I'll put that at the end as the French tip of the week, so that.
Oh yeah, it's a good idea.
just in case. But that's delicious too. That's another. Anyway, Mont Saint-Michel, it's beautiful. If you're there, do you like photography by any chance?
I actually do, and I hope that when I go back, I can. I'm hoping that it's not going to be as crowded because I'll be there at the end of October.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm hoping to get some really good pictures. I could have just roamed around all day long just taking pictures of it.
Yeah. And end of October, you might run into French school vacations. Look at the school vacation schedule for the French kids. I'll put a link to that on the episode, on the show notes for the episode, because. Yeah, starting in mid-October through mid-November, there's school kid vacations, and so you will have more people than normal. But it's true that with the D-Day celebrations, it must have been completely mobbed.
It was. It was barely standing room.
Right.
Do a lot, So it won't be that bad. But I think I'm coming to stay with a friend in Lille. For 10 days, and she is a teacher, so I think that's part of why I'm able to stay with her at that time.
Yes.
Because they're going to be out. So.
Yes. So you already know that there's going to be school vacation at that time. Yeah, but that's okay. It's not going to be anything like D-Day celebrations, so you'll be fine. And Mont Saint-Michel is this beautiful old place with narrow streets, right?
Very narrow and very uphill.
Yeah, it's uphill all the way. Of course, I mean, if you see the photos, it doesn't,
right.
You have to go up that hill. But it's well worth it. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Did you have good weather when you went?
Well, actually, it stayed pretty much in the mid-70s.
All right.
The whole time, and I live in southern Mississippi, so it isn't much for it to get up over 100 down here at the same time of the year, 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes.
So it was nice.
Yeah. It's a good place. It's a good place. All right.
Great.
So we got a recommendation from you on Mont Saint-Michel.
Very much so. Everybody needs to go see that.
Yeah. And it's chock full of restaurants, and I really can't recommend one over the other.
Me either. We pretty much there was, I don't know how many to choose from, and they all seem to have a fairly similar menu. So I think that if I'd have to go and try each one. I'm up for that challenge, but
Yeah. You definitely have pretty much the same everywhere because these are the two foods, you know, les moules and the omelettes. That's what people have up there. And they also have cider, hard cider. Did you have any of that?
I didn't. We didn't get a chance to try any of that, but like I said, I might rectify that when I come back.
Oh, I'm sure. So is your teacher friend is French, right?
Yes.
Oh, very good. So yeah, she'll introduce you to the proper customs of the area, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm excited about that.
That's great. Okay, so the D-Day sites, which ones did you see?
We saw the cemetery in Brittany because I was not aware, and I'm not sure if a lot of people are, that there are actually more than one American cemetery. Oh, so we went to one at Brittany, and that was beautiful, and they were telling us about how they had arranged all of the grave sites to sort of look like a shield and a sword. When you go up to there's a tower that you can climb there, and you can look out over the cemetery, and it's arranged in a shield and sword kind of pattern. And then we went over to the more well-known cemetery over Omaha Beach.
Right.
And we walked around there. We got to walk down to Omaha Beach. And I'll tell you, that's something to stand on the beach and see where the history was made is phenomenal. Yeah. I mean, it brings it to life in a very real way.
Yeah.
You know,
it
was fantastic. We did do that. And then, for the D-Day parade, we were at Sainte Mère-Église, and I spent a lot of time walking around that little town, and that place is beautiful. And they have the church that still they have a parachuter hanging off the church. I guess, you know, like in What Happened in Real Life, he's just hanging there on the side of the church.
He's still there, huh?
So yeah, it was phenomenal. And I'll be honest with you, I did not expect to see. I probably saw more American flags up on the coast of France than I've ever seen, you know, where I live. So I was a little bit surprised about that.
Yeah, you know, it's something that Americans, some Americans anyway, don't appreciate is how much gratitude French people still have about about World War I and II. And the help that Americans have given us in getting rid of the invader. And when you go over there, you see this. And I think I've mentioned this in the episode the special we did on D-Day with Elise. It's very touching to see that the mayor of I can't remember the name of the town where Omaha Beach is. But the mayor of that little town shows up, or somebody from the city council shows up every day at noon to do a celebration.
Wow.
And you can go in the dead of the winter, you can go any day of the year, and they will do a celebration where they raise all the flags, not just the American flag, but the Canadian, the Polish flag, you know, all the allies that came and helped. They play the national anthems. It's a very solemn celebration every day. And I can't imagine being the mayor of that town that has to go do that every day. You know? After a while, I'd be,
that's some dedication. That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it really is. They're really, really very nice and very grateful. And it's important to mention that because there are a lot of people who don't know that.
Yeah, and I would agree with you on that. And everybody, all the people that I met were very friendly. Everybody was very nice. And even, I have to say, down in Paris, everybody was very, you know, I guess y'all have heard by now, and I think I actually heard y'all do a podcast about the stereotype that French people are rude. And I have to disagree.
Yeah.
Nobody was rude to me.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. I'm not surprised, but yeah, I think if you have a typical, if you show up speaking English, not saying bonjour, not saying merci, or, you know, trying minimal French, you might run into some people who are a bit short with you, but mostly you won't. I mean, especially in places like that. So the American cemetery you were mentioning in Brittany, is that the one in a place called St. James?
I think so. I can't remember exactly where it was.
because there are a few, there are big ones and small ones.
This was a fairly good size one. They had a big celebration there. They had people, doing music, and they had, I can't remember I think Dwight Eisenhower's granddaughter was there to give a speech, and
wow.
And then it was really packed, and it was a big to do.
That's great. That's great. Very glad to hear about that. Okay, so Omaha Beach. So you said it was very touching to see it.
It was. It really was, because you watch the movies and you sit in history class and you hear about this stuff, but then you go there and you see what everybody had to do. And just, standing among all those rows and rows and rows of graves is just, it really brings it home, what people had to do, to ensure freedom, I guess. Because things could have been very different if they hadn't done what they did.
Yeah.
So.
And if you have time to go on the beaches themselves, you can still see the bunkers and the fortifications that the Germans had built.
Yes.
You can see.
We actually over to Pointe du Hoc too, and got to tour around those bunkers, and you can still find the holes where the bomb landed, and just thinking about those people trying to climb those cliffs and get to the Germans, and it was something.
Yeah. Oh, it's very impressive to see. Yeah. Yep. So, okay, so that would be a big recommendation is if you have the time, go visit all of these things. And if you have good weather, it's even better.
Yes. It's a lot of outside stuff.
Yeah. You're outside a lot, and it's very touching. And one of the nicest recommendations I ever heard was actually from a French tour guide who was there at Omaha Beach. And she was saying, because we were asking her how to get to the American cemetery, and she told us it's very near Omaha Beach. And then she says, but you ought to really go also to the German cemetery.
Yeah.
And I was taken aback a little bit because why? But we went. We went, and I'm glad we went, because then you realize that most of the deceased were 17 and 18-year-olds.
Yes.
And you just go, well, you can't really, how responsible were they? I mean, I don't know about you, but at 17 and 18, I was very, like one-track mind. And
Right.
I don't know. It's hard to ask young people like that to be very cognizant of what's happening. It's easy.
Well, and then you have to wonder what kind of choice they had too. I mean, how many of them were told, if you don't do this, we're going to wipe out your family. You know what I mean? So that puts them in a hard position too.
That's right.
Not to excuse what happened, but
no.
It puts a different perspective on it.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought that was a very good suggestion, and I would suggest it to the listeners. Now, of course, you were in a bus, so you didn't have a choice to take off and go do something different. But I would say, I don't know if you had a chance to look around the roads very much, but I would say that area is pretty easy to navigate with a car if people want to rent a car and do it on their own. It's not that difficult. I mean,
I thought that, and like I said, it gives me a reason to plan yet another trip. So, and I'll maybe try driving a car. Who knows?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it in Paris. I would never.
No.
Yeah, nope, not in Paris.
No.
Yeah, get to Paris some other way. But outside of Paris, I think having a car is a pretty good thing, and you're not going to be that startled by the way French people drive or whatever. It's similar. I mean, if you can drive in California, you can drive anywhere, right?
Well, no kidding.
So, anyway, all right. Tell us a little bit about Paris and what you saw in Paris.
Paris, again, I've had this idea in my head ever since I was a little kid about going to France. My grandmother's ancestors came here from France, and I've just always been in love with the idea of it. And so when we were riding in this bus, and I can't tell you from which direction because we were on a bus, I wasn't really navigating.
Right.
But everybody gets that first view coming into town. You can see just the very tip of the Eiffel Tower, And I mean, we were excited. We got off the bus, and we were immediately people were everywhere. And I mean, it wasn't just a small group. It was just herds of people, But we got out, and I don't know. It was just, it's massive, but not very big. I mean, because we could walk, we saw a lot of stuff, but we walked just about everywhere we went. I wasn't brave enough to try the metro just yet. So we walked and I walked and I walked. I finally got to put my hands on Notre Dame, so I was very excited about that.
Oh, very nice.
They have to go there. If nobody's been there, they have to go. I got to go to the Louvre, and I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those people who would rather, in future trips to Paris, I don't know that I will go back.
Yeah.
But I guess everybody might think about doing it at least once just to go in and see what they have, because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Just the building is beautiful.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time in the garden attached to the Louvre.
Yes.
There was a game that there was some, I don't know if they were like business people on lunch break. I don't know what they were doing, but they were playing this game with these big leaded weight balls, and I'm not real sure what the game is called, but I talked one of these gentlemen into showing me how to play.
Yes.
And so he invited me to join his little group. And I don't think we won. I'm not really sure.
Oh, that's okay.
It was fun.
So were they just metal balls?
Yeah, they're like big, they're heavy. Like, I don't know what kind of, they look like steel or lead or something, but they were throwing them and trying to, like, I think the goal of the game was to knock another person's ball out from around this little pebble or rock that they had decided was going to be their target.
Right. So that's la pétanque. It's pétanque.
Okay.
It's like, it looks like bocce, the Italian version of this is bocce, where you throw a little, it's, what do you call it? A wooden ball. Mm-hmm. That's about the size of a ping pong ball. Mm-hmm. And you play it on on sand. It's on some sort of sandy area that you play best. And the first team gets to go first, and they try to get as close as possible to that little wooden ball. And then the others are trying, if they got close, you try to get closer or knock them out of the way. Right,
and that seemed to be, I guess, between my very, very basic French and his very, very basic English, we managed to convey that to each other. And like I said, I don't think we won. It was fun.
Well, that's great that you got to do that. That's wonderful.
Yeah, I was excited about that. And, we ate lots of food, and we took one of the boats, the bateau mouche.
Yeah.
That go down the river, and I have to recommend that. That was a great way to sort of get oriented to where you were.
Yes.
And where everything is. And we just happened to time it so that as we pulled up by the Eiffel Tower, it lit up, and we got to see that from the river, and it was great. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
It's a good way to.
It's a good way to do it. It's fast. It's comfortable. I mean, you're just sitting there and you're being taken.
Yeah.
They usually have an audio guide that you can listen to.
Well, we actually had a real guy. He was a real person doing the tour, and he would say it first in French, and then he would say it in English, and then he would say in Spanish, like what we were passing.
Okay.
So it was great.
Yeah.
It was really informative. I guess we were on there for about an hour.
Yeah, that's about what it takes, yeah. And if you do it at night, it's really fun because the Eiffel Tower sparkles.
It does, and it's beautiful. And I was surprised about how many people were still out and about, so late, what I would consider to be really late at night. I mean, it was still just buzzing.
Oh, yeah, it's Paris. There are people all the time.
Everywhere.
Yeah. No, that's, I mean, if the weather is really, really awful, then there's fewer people. But, yeah. And French cities in general, French people go out at night. It's when you go to if you go even to England, English people don't go out as much as French. Mm-hmm. And then you have on the southern border, the Spanish go out even more. So in Spain, you have even very old people out at night. And, whereas in France, it's mostly the young people that are out at night. So that's a bit of a difference, yeah. So you did, you went to Notre Dame, you went to... You did a bateau mouche. What else?
We did. We went to see the Louvre.
Oh, yeah.
And they had told us before we went, excuse me, they said, pick what you want to see and go find it, because it's a huge place. And again, it's one of those things where, you're sitting in class listening to a teacher talk about it, or you see a picture in a book, and it does not sink in how gigantic that place is.
Yeah.
But when you see it, I mean, it's just, I felt like we were walking for half an hour and we were still beside it. It was just that big.
Yes, it's very long. Yes, it's long.
It was. It's just big, and it was really crowded. I mean, but the paintings were beautiful, the sculptures. So what we did, I was with my niece, and she decided she wanted to see the Mona Lisa, and I decided I wanted to see the apartments that they've renovated, Napoleon III's apartment.
Ah, yeah.
So we went, and just doing those two things took us about 3.5 hours just to find them and look at them. The place is that big. Yeah. So I felt like that was a good idea. Just pick something you want to see, or like one particular little wing, and go and look at. Don't try to do right, because you'll be in there forever.
Right. But of course, at the same time, when you're walking from one place to the other, you're going to run across a lot. I mean, you're going to see a lot of art and a lot of sculpture and a lot of everything. And if you try to stop at everything, you'll never get out.
And that was my problem, because I kept wanting to stop and, oh, look, there's medieval art, and, oh, look, there's,
Yeah, I really think it's wise to pick a thing or a theme, you know. Maybe you want to see, I don't know, Italian art or French revolutionary art, or, pick a theme. And the website for the Louvre is very good for that, because it will help you. It really
is.
Yeah. It will help you narrow it down and figure out what it is that you want to concentrate on. And then along the way you will see other things, but don't let it all tempt you, or you'll never get to where you want it to go to begin with.
And two, you need to remember to look up, because there is so much beautiful art on the ceiling and up, just the building is magnificent.
Yeah.
So you just pay attention to the, not just the art that was put there, but, the art in the building is phenomenal.
And I think people really love it when they spend a limited amount of time in the Louvre, doing the whole day. You're probably going to hate yourself.
I would have been exhausted if I had even thought about trying to walk through. I don't know that I would have tried that at all. Just doing one or two little, pick something and go see that and call it good. And it gives you a reason to go back later. So.
That's right. Exactly right. All right. What else did you do in Paris that you enjoyed?
I had something called croque monsieur, which, I guess was a very fancy grilled cheese sandwich, but it was really good.
You like it?
It was, there's this little, I don't know that it was a brasserie, or it was right around by the Louvre. I don't even remember the exact name of it, but we had the most phenomenal sandwich and creme brulee. And I've had creme brulee before, but that was on my little list of, I would really like to try it in France. So we did. We basically ate our way across Paris is what we did. Every time I found a little creperie, I wanted to stop and try it.
Yeah.
And the coffee, I probably had enough coffee to, float my way back home. It was so good.
So you liked it. You weren't startled by how small it is and...
Well, I wasn't, but now I think I probably cheated a little bit, because I ordered mine the cafe creme,
Yeah.
And so it comes a little bit bigger, and it has, you can put the milk in it and stuff. So, but you could still taste the coffee, and it's quite a bit stronger than stuff you get around here. So I like that. So
Right. So
but it was good.
So what you can do in France is you can order your coffee. So un café is just a regular espresso. And it's going to come with 1 sugar, and that's it. And it'll be very small. It'll probably be, a quarter of a cup?
Yeah, it's not very big. Maybe. I saw some people that had some, and they were very small.
Yeah, maybe a quarter cup, maybe even less. And you can ask for café américain, which is, they just add some more water to it. So it's an espresso, but it's twice the size, so maybe a half a cup. And it's not quite the flavor isn't quite as packed in, because you have the water.
Right.
And then you can ask for café crème, like you did, which they served with some milk, right? On the side.
Yes, it had milk.
Right. Or you can ask for café au lait, where they will bring it to you in maybe that's a full cup size. And it's, again, 1 shot of espresso, plus frost milk. So that's more like, that's the closest thing to a latte that you find in France. But it would be, it's not near as big as a latte from Starbucks, obviously.
No.
Yeah, because those are like a gallon or something. I don't know. But yeah, so those are your major options for coffee in France.
And I've heard of something. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. Noisette.
Noisette, yes.
I would like to try that next time I come.
Right. Okay. So let me think. A noisette is, I think that's just a tiny bit of milk, right?
I think so, and it's like a hazelnut. Is it something that looks like hazelnut?
Noisette means hazelnut. Hang on, I'm gonna look it up because my husband orders this all the time, and I always take café au lait. But let's see, what's the difference between café au lait and noisette? I think it's just a little smaller.
Maybe so.
I'm looking it up because.
And then maybe just the flavor. I would think the café au lait would not have that. And I don't know if you can have that option. Like you can get here, you can get a coffee and then have different flavor syrups added to it. Yeah. So I don't know if that's something they do.
Oh my
there
goodness.
or not.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. I opened the French site to look up noisette. I got the ad at the same time. Okay, so noisette is, actually there's no hazelnut in it. It's just called noisette because of its color. So it's a espresso. They add a tiny bit of milk and it makes it look hazelnut colored.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I would have been completely fooled.
Yes, so it's like a café au lait, but with less coffee, with less milk. Yeah, okay. That's what it is. And very often French people don't like a lot of milk in their coffee, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you loved in Paris?
Oh gosh, obviously the food and the coffee.
Yeah.
I just, it's like everywhere you turned, there was a work of art. I mean, the bridges, the statues. Yeah. I mean, it's like the whole city was just history everywhere, and here there's just not as much, tangible history. Obviously it's an old country, but not like where you go there and you see buildings that were put there before the United States was a country. That was, I was just surprised all the time. And we did actually go up the Montparnasse. We went to the top of it and got a fantastic view of the city. And it's just how, it's just big and I don't know, you had a great view of everything. Yeah.
I think going up to Montparnasse is a good idea because it gives you a beautiful view onto the city.
Yeah, and you actually get to have pictures of the skyline with the Eiffel Tower in the pictures.
Absolutely.
Instead of from the tower. We did not get to go up the tower because there was a large group of us and they were doing renovation work on the second floor. And they told us that they could not get us up as a group and, that would have taken hours and hours and hours to get everybody up there. So we decided to do Montparnasse. And I'm kind of glad we did because they have a small little, like a cafe up there. You can get a coffee or, some kind of little snack up there on the floor. And then you can walk around and see the view. And they actually have an open air observation deck. Yep. That I guess the very top floor you can go out. And now I did not do that. I'm very afraid of heights. So I did not go out on there. But I did, walk around and look out the glass windows at the city. So
actually another good reason to go to somewhere else besides the Eiffel Tower, because the Eiffel Tower is a little bit intimidating. I am kind of afraid of heights too. I'm okay on the Eiffel Tower, but I can't get too close to the edges.
Right.
So if it makes you nervous, then Tour Montparnasse would be better probably.
Yeah. I think the next time I go back in October, I'm going to try to at least go to the second floor of the Eiffel Tower just to say that I did it. But I don't know. I think that's about as high as I'll go.
You'll be glad you did it because I think the second floor is the best, honestly, because first of all, it doesn't scare me as much. And second thing is, for pictures, it's a good height. If you go to the third floor, you're so far, you need 600 millimeter lens to see anything. And most of us don't walk around with a 600 millimeter lens. So,
no, no, I'm not going that high up.
right. So, yeah. So that's good. And so
now, we did go to Trocadero, and we got great views of the Eiffel Tower from Trocadero. That was really cool. It was just neat to look out over that and see. And we went to the base of the Eiffel Tower. We had these, I can't believe that the guy that drives the bus was able to get us into some of the places that we went in that bus. But he got us parked there. We got to look around for a little while, and then we went over to the Montparnasse and did that. But I did get to touch the Eiffel Tower. So.
Oh, very good. That's great. Yeah, it's fun even to take pictures from the bottom. I don't know if you got any good pictures from the bottom up. It's kind of cool looking.
It is. I did get a couple of pictures, and it was really neat to see how it's put together. And, I'd really love to get more of I think they have a tour that will actually, and I think there may be some things along the way as you go up that you can look at as far as the construction. If I'm not mistaken,
yes.
They have a thing you can look at. And I would love to do that.
Yeah, when you walk down, a lot of people like to go up to the second floor on the elevator, and then you walk down to the first and all the way down if you want, or you could take an elevator down. And it's very good. It lets you see a lot of other things that you don't see when you're going using the the elevator.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. And so you're going back this October?
I am. I'm actually leaving here on the 18th of October, and I will be there until November the 8th.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm going to spend about 11 days with my friend, and then I'm going to strike out solo.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So this time you might get a car, maybe not?
No, this time I'm going to use the train system.
Okay.
I've been researching the trains, and I've never been on a train here in the U.S., so this will be my first time to get on trains.
Oh, it's very good.
It looks like a lot of fun, so I'm going to spend time with her, and then I'm going to go up to Bayeux, and then I'm going to go back to Mont Saint-Michel, and then come back down to Paris. So I'll make a big circle.
That's very nice. That's very nice. That's very nice. Bayeux is a beautiful town. Very nice.
I was really disappointed last time I was there that we didn't get to go and see the tapestry. So that is my primary goal for going there.
Yeah, the tapestry is amazing. I mean, I saw it recently, and you just walk along that thing, and you have an audio guide that will describe some of the scenes. It is just, you can totally see it's so old, and yet you can see what they were saying.
It's amazing to me that there's something that old that's not made out of stone that is still there that you can go look at. That's just so cool.
yeah, it's very nice, and the whole town is beautiful. In Bayeux, I would, if you can, stay in the city center. And if you're going to be using the trains, I would say pick a hotel in the center of the city and just stay one night at least. And walk around in the evening, and you'll see some beautiful stuff. It's a nice town.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah. And Mont Saint-Michel, we didn't stay on the Mont Saint-Michel ourselves. We stayed just outside because then you get to see it. Whereas if you're on it, you don't see it.
Right.
So that would be my recommendation, is to stay not too far. Some of the hotels have shuttles that will take you as close as the shuttles can go. And then walk around the Mont Saint-Michel, and then at night come back out and enjoy seeing it lit.
I think there's actually a shuttle that goes from the train station at Pontorson to it actually drops you off at the last little shuttle stop a few hundred meters before
Perfect.
Before you have to walk across the little bridge, to get over there.
Yeah,
perfect. So I think it runs about every 20 minutes or so, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, if you take a little time and look for public transportation options, they're really not that hard to figure out. And you have to understand that a lot of French people don't have cars at all. They live in cities, and they don't want a car in the city, so they use the trains, they use the buses, they use,
Right.
Oh.
Well, and if I lived in somewhere like Paris, there's no way I would try to drive.
Right.
You know, watching people drive was very entertaining. That was very interesting.
I have a niece who's 21 years old or 22 years old maybe, and we had my brother had to, kind of twist her arm to actually get a driver's license. Mm-hmm. She didn't even want a driver's license because she felt like she was not going to use it. She didn't need it, and he was like, no, you don't know where you're going to live. Learn how to drive. Come on. But yeah, there are plenty of French people who are in the cities. They don't even see the point of a car. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, I can't say that I blame them.
Yeah. So you can totally get around with public transportation is what I'm saying, and it's
cool.
Inexpensive. I mean, if you have a few coins in your pocket, just always have a little cash in your pocket, and you'll be set. It's not going to be super expensive.
Cool.
So and then in Paris next time, what do you plan on doing?
Let me think. I'm going to go to the catacombs because I didn't get to do that last time.
Very nice.
Saint-Chapelle.
Yes. Saint-Chapelle on a sunny day.
Well, and I hope that I can maybe be there when they have some of the concerts because I'd love to hear music there. And
they have something just about every day, so
that's what I was reading on their. I guess there's a website I was looking at that has a list of concerts.
Yeah.
So I'll try that, and I love books and all things books, so I have to go to Shakespeare and Company.
Of course, nice.
I have a list somewhere. I have made this giant list. Oh, I would love to go. I just recently listened to your podcast about Marie Curie.
Yes.
And I have now added that to my list to go and look at the museum there. I think that would be very, very interesting.
And it's very simple. It's a small museum, but it's very, very nice. And just a few nights ago, we had dinner with friends of ours who are both physicists. And they went to see the Curie Museum for the first time ever. They hadn't ever been. And they were just gushing over it. But they did say that when they went, there were a bunch of French school kids. Mm-hmm. And so they never had the place to themselves. Whereas when I went, I wasn't there for a long time without anybody else. And even when there were other people, it was maybe 3 or 4 people, and that was it.
Wow.
But of course, it was a terribly rainy day and
right.
Awful day. Whereas when they went, it was nice weather. So, and school kids, you never know.
Well, I've definitely added that to my list, and I wanted to go to the Cluny Museum to see the medieval art.
Yeah.
Those tapestry, I like the tapestry things, and so I have put that on my list. And I don't think, now I could be wrong. I don't know that there will be much to look at in the way of like the gardens at Luxembourg or anything that time of the year. So I don't know that I'll do that.
October, maybe not.
Yeah, I think it's going to be too almost winter time by then, but I'm definitely going to do that. And
some years we have beautiful month of October though. It depends.
Yeah. I may just look and see. I'm going to have some days where I'm just going to kind of see what happens, see where it takes me. I definitely want to go to the Arc de Triomphe because I want to climb the top of it and get a view, and I'm very interested in seeing this roundabout because I think it goes a different way than most roundabouts. When you get on a roundabout, I think most roundabouts the world over, you get on and off pretty much the same way, but it's backwards right there.
Okay, so yes, this one is what we call the right-hand side priority roundabout. And so that means that when you enter the roundabout, you have priority. Mm-hmm. But then anybody else who enters the roundabout in front of you has priority over you.
Which just seems like a lot of mass confusion.
It's a mass confusion. And roundabouts in France used to all be right-hand side priority. And then they slowly over time changed them over to normal roundabout where when you approach the roundabout, you yield to whoever is on the roundabout. And when there's an opening, you go. Mm-hmm. Well, that one, L'Étoile, they have not changed. I think because people get such a kick out of seeing the mass... the crazy stuff happening. And I have to tell you, I used to teach driving when I was much younger. I taught driving for a year. And a couple of times I was in Paris, and we rented a car essentially so that I could drive it, because I wanted to try it myself. And it's kind of a rush. It's kind of a rush to just, and the game is you have to just zoom right in as fast as you can. And then,
my gosh.
and then you have like, it's wide enough for maybe 5 or 6 lanes of traffic. It's a wide thing. Anyway, it's just crazy. It's a rush to do it, and I've done it a few times. I'm good.
My gosh! No, I don't want to drive on it at all, but I want to watch other people try to go around it.
Yeah. No, it's fun. It's fun. I don't recommend it. I just say, I have to admit I did it. It's probably because when you grew up in Toulouse like I did, we don't have anything that big. We don't have that many huge roundabouts like that, and so yeah.
Well, and I'm going to be honest with you. In all of my planning for trips and stuff, I have always sort of focused more on northern France. But I think after listening to some of your podcasts, I've wanted to expand that a little bit and maybe try some of the areas in the south. So maybe in the future I'll get to see some of those things and be able to talk about them.
Sure. So why northern France? Is it because you know people there, or?
I don't know. I've just always been sort of fascinated with the history of that area, and not even just the World War II stuff, but all the, William the Conqueror and the Vikings and all of these, people. And I think my grandmother's grandfather, when he came from France, I have traced his family name to that area of France. And so I'm hoping in the future that I can come with the purpose of just doing family tree research there.
Sure.
So that would be a whole other, I've got to figure out, okay, where do I start?
Yeah. No, that's a fun way. That's one thing I've actually wanted to do, is to talk to, I have a good friend who, she's a genealogist, but she's moved away from France the last couple of years, and so I'm like, I hesitate to. She's now in Germany, but it's pretty much the same work. You just it works the same no matter where you do it. I think. Anyway, she's I think there's a lot of people come to France to do genealogy and to look into their heritage, which I think that's a great way to see a country.
I think so too, and I would love to do that, and if I could just sort of find, because here I have access to all the records in the U.S., but I think I would have to go there, and to make several trips to find the information that I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works here. There might be easier ways than that. I'll definitely try and look and find somebody who can talk about that on the show, because that would be
interesting.
That would be a good thing to do, I think.
I think so, because I know there's a lot of people here that have ancestors who came from, Europe, well, obviously from Europe, but France in particular, especially this area of the country. I live about 30 miles from Mobile, Alabama. Yeah. And it's very, very heavily French influenced, There's a lot of people with, French, Scottish, Irish ancestors. So,
so it's a natural interest. People in that area. Yeah. Oh, that's great. So I got to ask you about your cat, because on your picture, I see your face there on Skype, and you got your cat.
That's one of my cats. That is Daisy. Okay. She's an interesting cat, because she likes me and she likes my husband, but she doesn't like anybody else. And I have to lock her up when people come over, because she will try to bite them. She's not a very nice cat.
Well,
but her name is Daisy.
She's
I have
cute.
4 cats and 1 dog and a whole bunch of chickens. And
oh, wow. And why don't you bring your husband on this trip?
Well, he...
maybe I shouldn't ask. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. He's interested in going, but he... And this is going to sound horrible. He's never been particularly interested in France as a country. He does not speak any of the language, and I speak sort of passable. I can make my needs known and ask, things that I need and try to have very basic conversations.
That's great.
Yeah. And he's just like, I don't know. understand, what people are saying. But I think I'll be able to talk him into it one day. I think he would like to especially see the D-Day stuff. I'm not so sure that he'd be very interested in Paris, but maybe D-Day.
Maybe that's not his style. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It takes all kinds.
I'll just travel for both of us, and I'll just show him pictures when I get back.
Oh, right. That's a good plan. That's a great plan. So, we've been talking for 50 minutes already, my friend.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a long time. What did I miss anything else? Any other tips that you want to share with everybody?
I would say, especially if you can speak basic French, or even if you can't, at least try it.
Yes.
At the very least, say bonjour, say merci, because I found that I got help more quickly, and people were much more open and friendly to me when I approached them and tried to. I may have butchered it, but I tried to speak French.
Yeah.
And some of the people that were with me did not feel that they had the same experience. But I would highly recommend that and remember to say bonjour every time you go in a store, because I think y'all have said several times that people don't, as a habit, do that here in the United States.
No, they don't.
They do in France.
Yeah, we do in France, and it's a big deal. So I gotta tell you, every time I go back to the U.S. now, I make a fool of myself because I walk into an elevator and I say hello. And people look at me like, what alien is this?
Why are you talking to me?
Yes. And I'm mortified that I forget. And my husband, who's born and raised American, but he's been in France now for 10 years, he does the same thing. In France, it's so automatic to say hello when you walk into a small space that he gets caught. Because last time we were in the U.S., I told him, I did it again. I said hello in the elevator. He's like, I've done it a couple times already.
Well, I think it should be more universal, because it's just basic politeness. I think people are losing that propensity to be nice to each other. And so, even if it's expected and automatic,
I wouldn't say that Americans are not nice. They're just as nice as French people, but it's just that it's just not a cultural thing. In France,
right.
You walk into a small space, you say bonjour, and you walk out and you say au revoir. It's weird, but we do that. And it totally depends on the size of the room. And I can't really tell you what is like the dimensions after which you don't say hello anymore. But I think if it's like 20 feet by 20 feet, that's too big to say hello. But if
and I was just so scared that I was gonna, not say it when I was supposed to, that if I made eye contact with anybody in a store in France, I was like, bonjour.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
So I was just that way.
Yes, that's great. But see, when you pass people on the sidewalk, you don't say bonjour. On the sidewalk, you don't, unless you're me and you just want to see their reaction. I get such. In my village, when I walk the dogs, I say bonjour to everybody who comes by, and they know me by now, so everybody says bonjour to me. But at the beginning, I got the strangest looks, and it's just fun, And now they know I'm the crazy, we're the crazy American family that. I mean, they don't know. They assume that we're all American, but I'm French. But I kind of behave more like in an American way, I guess. So anyway,
yeah, it's very interesting to listen to the podcast, because to me, you have more of an American viewpoint, whereas Elise has more of the what I would consider to be a typical French point of view about things. But
you're right.
That's interesting to me.
You're right, and it's totally normal, because when you go live in a foreign country, it's kind of, you have to decide at some point, are you going to adopt the ways of that country in your head and in your being, or are you not? And so for me, I adopted American ways, and she had to adopt French ways. And I think if she went back to the U.S., which actually she's in the U.S. right now, she's visiting her family. She when she goes back, she finds America a little startling sometimes, more than I do. But that's because to me it's all like, it's all fine. And I can see differences, I can see differences, but it doesn't matter to me. I like both countries very, very much, so.
Yes.
So there you have it. All right. Well, it has been lovely talking to you. Thank you very much, Letitia.
Well, thank you for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
So how do you say your name in English?
Letitia.
Letitia. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's Letitia in French and Letitia.
It's close, yeah.
Yeah, it's close enough. It's good. Well, have a wonderful time in October. And who knows?
Thank you.
I might call you again to hear about that trip.
Hey, that would be great. You call me anytime you want. I'll talk to you about anything you want to talk about.
And thank you for figuring out Skype. I know you weren't sure about this whole Skype thing, but you figured it out just fine.
Well, I'm happy now because I know how to work something new.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
This is the French tip of the week. Sometimes French restaurants serve omelets undercooked. This is especially true in Normandy, where they think that's how it's supposed to be done. Now, I totally object to that notion, so I will tell you how to ask for your omelet to be fully cooked. You could say, two ways you could say this. You could say, je veux mon omelette bien cuite, which means I want my omelette well done. Je veux mon omelette bien cuite. Or, you could say, je n'aime pas l'omelette baveuse. Je n'aime pas l'omelette baveuse, which means I don't like runny omelettes. And that should settle the matter. This brings us to the end of another Join Us in France travel podcast. You can leave a comment on the website, follow us on Facebook, or look for @Paris Podcast on Twitter. I put lots of information on Facebook and Twitter that never makes it into the shows. And also, this is a subliminal message. Join the mailing list. Now, today. You can do that on joinusinfriends.com. Look for the green button. Et c'est tout pour aujourd'hui.